Listen to the birds. Level A2, Oxford Reading University.
Part 1.
The fall was warm and soft. Then, over one night, the wind changed and it was winter. Nat Hawken lived in a seaside village. He worked on a farm. Although he had a wife and 2 children, it pleased him more to work alone. He liked resting at the beach and watching the birds after a hard day's work. They are circling restlessly in the sky, Nat thought. Perhaps they are nervous because of the weather. Winter is coming. Later he talked to his boss. This year there are more birds than usual, the farmer noted, and they are afraid of nothing. This afternoon, 2 birds nearly knocked my hat off. They are going crazy. It means that the winter will be extremely cold. At night, a loud wind woke Nat up. Then he heard a strange sound. Something was knocking on the glass. Nat couldn't sleep, so he became angry. He came up to the window and opened it. At that moment, a bird pecked his finger and flew away. Later, the knocking came again. It was stronger than before. "Go check on the window, Nat," his wife said. "I cannot sleep like that." This time he discovered several birds on the windowsill. At once they flew up and attacked him. They tried to get into the house. Nat shouted and hit them with his hands. Soon they disappeared. Suddenly, Nat heard loud crying from the children's room. His wife sat up in bed. "It was Jill," she said in a worried voice. "What is the matter?" Nat ran to the children's room. The window was wide open. A lot of birds were getting into the room. Nat's children cried and hid behind his back. He pushed them into the hall and shut the door. Then he took a blanket and started waving it angrily in the air. The birds attacked him from all sides. They were hurting him and cutting his skin. He protected himself with the blanket and hit the birds with his hands. He fought them until the sun rose. Then he threw off the blanket and looked around. Many birds lay dead on the floor. The rest disappeared through the window. He walked up to the window and looked out into the cold and quiet morning. There was no sign of birds. Nat shut the window and returned to his bedroom. His wife sat in bed with their son in her arms.
If you hit the like button right now, we'll make sure to make more audiobooks like this.
Their daughter was sleeping by her side. "There was a bloody cut on Johnny's face," she said. "It is so strange. Jill told me something about birds. Did they hurt him?" Nat sat on the bed and held his wife's hand. Her face was white, and her eyes were full of fear. "Yes," he replied. "There are at least 50 dead birds in the room. They have gone completely crazy because of that wind." Soon the children woke up. "Have the birds left?" Jill asked. "Yes," Nat replied. "They were afraid of the east wind, so they wanted to hide inside our house." "They wanted to eat Johnny's eyes," Jill said. "Perhaps if we feed them bread, they will not come again." The family had breakfast together. Then the girl went for her coat and school bag. Nat's wife looked at him with a worried expression. He understood her at once. I will walk her to the bus, he decided. The sky was gray and heavy. Nat looked at the hills in the distance. They were bright only yesterday, but now they looked dark and empty. Nat felt the ground with his feet. It was hard like stone. Is it going to snow soon? Jill asked excitedly. It is so cold already. No, Nat replied. It will be a black winter. When Jill got on the school bus, Nat went to the farm. He tried to talk to the farmer's wife about the bird attack, but she wasn't interested. On his way back home, he came up to the sea. Big white waves rose in the distance and broke down again. Strangely enough, they made no sound. Nat looked closer and realized they were not waves. They were thousands of gulls riding the sea. They were quiet and seemed to be waiting for something. At first, Nat wanted to report the strange situation to the police. But what if they call me crazy, he thought. When he arrived home, his wife met him at the door. Nat, she cried excitedly, on the radio they talked about the birds. The same strange thing is happening all over the country. Even in London and other big cities, birds are attacking people. They get together in thousands. They stop the regular traffic and attack individuals. The police say we must close the windows and be careful. Nat spent the rest of the morning at home. He shut the windows and covered them with wooden boards.
Send this story to a friend who likes horrors.
Will the farmer and his wife do the same thing to protect themselves, he thought? Certainly not. They don't seem to care. After lunch, Nat closed the kitchen windows with boards as well. The government should order the army to shoot them, Nat's wife suggested. There are millions of houses and apartments in London, Nat said. The English army doesn't have enough soldiers to shoot birds from every roof. But they have to do something, his wife cried. No matter what they decide to do in bigger cities, it won't help us here, Nat thought. We are on our own. He went into the garden and looked at the sky. Although it was only 3 o'clock, the sky was dark. Nat realized that it was filled with thousands of gulls. They rose from the sea and circled in the air. He picked up Jill at the bus stop and quickly went home. On their way, he looked up at the sky nervously. The gulls grouped into an enormous black cloud. They were very close to the ground. Jill got scared and started crying. In the distance, Nat noticed his boss's car and called out to him. "Will you give her a ride?" "Sure," the farmer said. They ran up to him, and Jill got into the car. "I am going to shoot some of these birds," the farmer continued. "Do you want to join us?" Nat refused politely. "Have you put boards on your windows?" he asked. "Do you think I have nothing better to do?" the man laughed. "The radio is scaring us, but there is nothing to be afraid of." Then the car left. Nat ran across the field, picking up speed. Suddenly, he heard the noise of many wings behind his back. A gull fell on his head but missed, then rose up again. Several others joined in, and they attacked together. Nat covered his head with his hands. He could feel blood running down his fingers and neck. He reached the house and started knocking loudly on the door. "Open up," he shouted. "Let me in." Nat looked up. A big black bird was hanging over his head, preparing to attack. The other birds were circling it. Just as the black bird fell upon him like a stone, his wife opened the door and he ran inside. They hardly managed to close the door.
Part 2 is coming soon.
Do you want more English audiobooks with translations and transcriptions? Check out appewa.com. You can read books and learn new words every day. And now enjoy another English story.